Okay, good morning, everyone. It is week 7. Can't believe I'm saying this. April 7, 2021, our last class. I'm actually kind of sad about it, to be honest with you, but just wanted to go ahead and first thank everybody from United Healthcare for all they have done so far. It's been extremely educational for all of us, and we're really excited about getting this going. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it started. Matt Broman, it's all yours, my friend. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff, and welcome back for week 7. Time goes fast. So today we're going to be talking about our business planning and marketing options and kind of how to target new business. So we're going to have Carlos Campos take over that here in just a moment. But what I will say is that, and we'll talk about this at the end, it may feel that you might not have all the tools right now and you might not feel completely confident in going after new business and starting your trek on the Medicare space. That is okay. We're here to support you beyond this training program. So just keep that in mind as we go through this final session here today. We don't, wave goodbye and say good luck. We are here to support you and help you out as you begin this venture. So with that being said, let's get started and talk a little bit about the agenda. So business planning, marketing, and then next steps. We'll give some final thoughts on what happens next in this process here. So as you see our training roadmap, we've had this up each time. You can see we've gone over a lot. We've talked about Medicare 101, the foundations of Part A, Part B. We've talked about our different products, Medicare Advantage, prescription drug, Medicare supplement. And then we talked a little bit more about how do we sell those products using the election periods. And that's one of the tougher topics. So don't be afraid if you don't feel confident with that. I still even have troubles with it sometimes. So don't worry. And then we talked a little bit about the compliance side of things, keeping you guys in a good spot to where you're selling compliantly and not going against any of the rules. And then our lean enrollment tool. We walked through that both last week and the previous week, talking about lean enrollment and just different scenarios that you might come across as you begin this venture. So with everything wrapping up, we're going to talk about going after new business today. So some business planning, setting goals for yourself, as well as marketing. Who do we market to? Where should we be, extending our efforts to? So with that being said, we have, again, I can't go without saying about the contracting process. Again, we've gone 6 weeks showing this slide. What's another week, right? We do want you to become contracted and start that certification process. So if you have questions, reach out to your leaders. I know Kent mentioned there is a time frame. So if you have received your contracting paperwork, have filled it out, and have got that party ID, you have a limited amount of time to complete those certifications. If we have time at the end, we can walk through again to show you where those certifications are. We'll talk a little bit about best practices for the actual 2 tests that you take, so you feel confident when you start that process. And then writing ID, the golden ticket, that's what gets you in the United Healthcare door to sell our products. And if you have any questions on that, let us know. For the others on the call, I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention on the contracting process right now. We do have a slide at the end that talks about best practices, but I'll open it up real quick to the rest of the crew. Anything to add on this? All right, I'll take that as a no. So we'll get into the fun stuff today, week 7. So let's start with business planning. So Carlos, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for being on the call today. Before we get started, I want to share with you a quote, a really famous quote that I believe is completely incorrect. And that is, you've all heard this quote, knowledge is power. Well, that's false. It's not power. Applied knowledge is power. So we're giving you a lot of information today, and right now, today's training is going to be where the rubber hits the road, as far as mapping out what you're going to be doing next steps and where to attack your marketing. We can give you all this information, but if you don't actually start working and doing the process, that power is only potential, okay? You really got to start engaging to see some kind of benefit and to get some kind of result, okay? So let's talk about a business plan. I'm going to go over a business plan template with you, and when I get off the call, we'll send this business plan over to Jeff, and he'll distribute it later if you need this, or you can use one of your own. Well, we'll start out with business planning as far as income potential goes first, what you want to do income-wise, and then how to get there. So we're going to build a roadmap for yourself. So let's just say this on this business plan, these are California compensation amounts right here. It could vary state to state depending on where you're doing business, but we're going to take it as far as California goes. And if you sell a new Medicare Advantage policy, that's somebody who's new to Medicare, they just turned 65, or they've been in a Med Sup and they're coming over Medicare Advantage, your compensation on that's going to be $672, okay? Or if they are coming from already another carrier on Medicare Advantage and come over to us, you get $336. And also the $336 is going to be your annual renewals on that business as well. Okay, if you follow that. So $672, they're new to Medicare Advantage, but if not, $336 is the compensation amount. Now I know you can get compensated with Med Sup and prescription drug plans as well, but for the sake of simplicity, we're going to keep it to Medicare Advantage plans because they seem to be the most popular in our area here. Okay, so if your income goal is you want to create an additional $30,000 in income from new policies sold, well, what's that going to take? Okay. Well, the number of MAPD sales requirement to meet that goal is about 60. Okay. And then that means, let's say, let's break it up. Let's break it up during SEP. So from, 2/1 effective dates to 12 months. So most of the year, you're going to get your goal is 20 during that time frame. And you want to make another additional 40 sales during AEP, during the enrollment period, October 15th through December 7th. That gets you your 60, that gets you your $30,000, okay? And remember that money too, there's a lot of renewals involved, so next year you're gonna step it up even more and even more and even more on top of that, all right? So what's that mean as far as the amount of leads you need to get those results? Okay, we're going to go with a 50% conversion rate. And if you've been doing this business for a while and you're a seasoned pro and you sit down with somebody, your conversion rate is going to be more like 75 to 80% on business when you talk to people. Okay, if you're new to the business, you're going to look at about 25 to 35% conversion rate. So we're going to shoot right down the middle and just go with averages and say, all right, 50%. Let's use that as far as the conversion ratio goes. So with that, if you need 60 sales to reach that goal of $30,000. Okay, well, 50% of 120 is that 60. So you're going to need 120 leads. Okay, so we need to come up with a strategy to get you 120 leads throughout the entire year. Okay, does that make sense? Are you following it so far? Okay, so 120 leads to get you that. So that's what the business plan is going to be, really mapping out what areas you need to do, what you need to focus on, and give you some timelines as well. So next slide, please, Matt. All right, so we're going to take a look at the different areas of strategy. Number one, getting the word out. Okay, so what that means is letting everybody that you know in your sphere of influence, I'm talking about your family, your friends, business associates, your current client base, that you now offer Medicare plans, okay? Let everybody know. And I've shared this with you last time, I believe, but I know when I was doing, like 20 years ago, when I got into financial services, somebody in our office, and we did mortgages that time, somebody in our office did not get their parents' mortgage done because their parents didn't know he did mortgages also, because he didn't share, okay? We're not trying to like sell your friends and family, but let them know, because they will know people and will start referring business to you. So let everybody know in your sphere of influence. And also a big to do is contact your current book of business. Let them know you do Medicare plans. And just don't limit it to 65 and overs, okay? Go younger too, because somebody might have an older brother who might be turning Medicare age. And if you have clients who are in their 30s and 40s, or friends and family in 30s and 40s, so many of those people are getting educated with Medicare because their parents are aging into Medicare also, okay? So, talk to everybody. Also, something else to get the word out, social media. Okay, we have a compliance page on that on Jarvis if you want to know the do's and don'ts. But basically, if you're generic with everything, you just mentioned you offer Medicare plans or like to educate people on Medicare and keep it generic like that, you can do. If you start, announcing that you're working with United Healthcare and name any of the carriers or name any of the benefits, that's where it gets sticky and you can't do that. But you can be as generic as you want to put on your social media site. Telephone calls to all contacts, just you want to be the referral source for all things Medicare. And you can do that to your current book of business by sending out letters, calls, flyers, etc. And through this program, our goal here is to get to 15 referral leads. Okay. Also, networking. You want to go out there and network with other financial planners, CPAs, pharmacists, anything you could think of for networking purposes, which will generate, we're going to look for another 10 referrals. Remember, this is over the course of the whole year. So 10 referrals there. Okay. It's important to know that as we go through all of these tactics to get you leads, there's not one that's going to open the floodgates to you. Okay. It takes several. You need to be engaged in several different ones because let's say just getting the word out, your friends, your family, social media, that generates like 10 to 15 referrals for you. And then the informal sales meetings does like 1 or 2. And then a few months later, the informal sales events, which we're about to go over, gets you 10 to 15. And then getting the word out to your friends, family, and business associates, that gets you 1 or 2. There's always an ebb and flow to things. Okay. So one starts to dry up a little bit and one starts to get going. So you want several different tactics involved. Okay. So the next tactic, number 2 here on your screen, is informal sales meetings. And we kind of touched upon that earlier. Informal sales meetings are when you're in a public place and you're basically just setting up a booth or kiosk and manning and answering questions. You might think of like a health fair would be a good place to set up a booth like that. If you are working with a food bank, a lot of times they'll do community days and you'll set up a table there. So a table at a local health fair, let's say on this for the sake of the business plan, we say, okay, let's do one in winter, one in spring. That's going to generate about 5 leads. You're going to set up a booth at a senior center or, something else. And you can do that 2 Thursdays every month. All right. And that's going to generate another 5 leads throughout the course of the entire year. Okay. Or at a veterans group, or it could be at a farmer's market. That's another place to go set up a booth. A golf course, something else like that. Just put those down as an informal sales event that you're going to go and just be passive. People come up, they ask questions, you answer them, you get lead cards, you move forward. Okay. So that's something else to think about too, another way to drive business. Next slide, please. All right. So now also a marketing plan, getting you out there as far as maybe, spending some money out of your own pocket to start driving business. Marketing plans could be, inserts in newspapers, a mailer to your current book of business, or you might want to look at a list and start mass mailing out to everybody. Local publications, that's been my favorite because it's very targeted. If you look at senior communities, like 55 and older communities, a lot of them have newsletters that go out quarterly. And ad space on that is relatively inexpensive. When I was an agent 10 years ago, there's a community not far from where I live, 55 and over, did a quarterly newspaper. And I bought an ad. It cost me $125 to buy an ad that I was doing a meeting at their clubhouse on a couple of days for the next quarter. And I got about 20 attendees out of it, wrote some business, really well worth it. Okay. So marketing plan is where you can spend a little money out of your pocket to get things done. And you can also have like email for this. If you have a current book of business, maybe a marketing tactic is email everyone and bulk email them that you're now doing Medicare. All right. The 4th tactic on the list here is community sales meeting presentations. These are the formal meetings. These are meetings that you get up in front of a group, you go over the Medicare basics, Medicare A, Medicare B, what a Medicare supplement plan is, what a Medicare Advantage plan is, and then you go over plan benefits for that specific area to the group, okay? Now, if you work with United Healthcare, we can help market these meetings eventually, okay? And what I mean by that is we send out direct mail pieces every month announcing where these community meetings are being held. And people will either call us up and RSVP, or they'll just walk in with that direct mail piece that we sent them, that shows the date, time, and venue location. Okay. If that's something of interest to you, we have a lot of training involved with how to run a compliant meeting, what to say, what presentation to give, how to market yourself, and just how to run a very effective meeting. You'll want to attend a few of those first before you really get going on that. And then if you pass all those things, all those check boxes, work with your local market manager, and we can get you involved with marketing those meetings and adding them on to our direct mail pieces that we do on a monthly basis. Okay, so that's something to think about as well, these community meeting sales presentations. Next slide. Okay, so now you might be thinking like, all right, you kind of got the basics, rough draft down. I need to get a little more specific. Okay, well, these are target marketing by location type ideas for you. Okay, you may want to grab your phone out, take a picture of the screen, or screenshot it, or do whatever you have to do to really, look at it and figure out a detailed plan of attack for you. Okay, so for example here, gyms. A lot of Medicare Advantage plans come with free gym memberships. Okay, ours does too. But the United Healthcare gym memberships, we have the most robust gym, the amount of gyms in our networks out of any other plan. Okay, we have a lot of gyms there. You can look it up. 24-hour fitness is on there. California Family Fitness. There's a lot of them in this area that you'll find on there. And a lot of those gyms offer community days where they'll allow you to set up a booth and talk to people. That's a great start right there. Also, golf courses. Golf courses, I always say, is a great place to go because if you look at it Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to noon, on the course, it's 95% seniors. Okay, I have an agent who joined her senior golf association. All she does is wear a logoed shirt. It says United Healthcare. She goes golfing a couple times a month out there with these folks. And obviously she's wearing a logoed shirt. So the conversation, you're spending 3 hours in the course with these people, comes up what she does. She talks to them a little bit. And she writes about 1 to 2 pieces of business a month from being out there with her senior golf association. Okay. Your job here is to look at each of these bullet points and find out where in my local area can I go specifically. So if your business plan says, I want to target golf courses, that's good, but it's not good enough. You need to go in there and think, what golf courses do you want to target? Okay, so do a Google search in your neighborhood, or you may have a local, course that you go to all the time. Put those specific names down, and same with gyms. Put which gym you want to go to down. Senior centers. Google senior center in your area, and you'll find a long list of senior centers also. Okay, financial advisors works as well. And again, when building that business plan, be specific. It's not good enough to put financial advisors. You're going to want to put, okay, Joe Smith, Edward Jones, or whatever the case may be. Mobile home parks, River City Mobile Home Park, Central Valley Mobile Home Park, whatever the specifics are with their locations, you're going to want to put those down and give you a time frame to go out there to visit them. Okay, so obviously financial advisors, mobile home parks, you're going to be out there talking about 2 completely different plans. Financial advisors, more of a Med Sup or Medicare Advantage plan. Mobile home parks, you'll probably be leading with the Assure plan, okay, or dual SNP if you're in a market with a dual special needs plan, okay. But also human resource associations, good place to go. Thrift stores, we've had a lot of success around the country by setting up a kiosk in a thrift store and manning a booth there for a couple hours. Limited income housing, another good place to go. Bowling alleys, when they reopen, and word is, as of yesterday, that California is supposed to reopen business as usual beginning June 15th. That means bowling alleys will be open then. All of them have senior leagues. Find out when that senior league is happening. Find out if you could set up a booth or a kiosk or do a meeting adjacent to when that senior league is happening. Okay. Chamber of Commerce is always a good place to start networking. Dental offices that are in our network. Okay, do a search for dental offices. Renew Active Gyms. That's our gym membership program. It's called Renew Active, and you'll want to go to our website to look up which gyms are in your area, and you can target those. Farmers markets, mentioned those before, estate planning lawyers, networking groups, okay? Food banks, another good place to go for low income and to lead with the Assure plan. Bingo halls. You could buy lead lists. I've heard agents actually buying lead lists. And the feedback that I get is that when you buy a lead list, you might write enough business to pay for the list up front, okay? You might, at best, okay? But agents still buy them because they go, okay, even if I just make, I write a couple pieces of business that pays for the list, what I'm doing now is I have those new 2 clients who I'm going to tap into referral sources for, and I get the renewals on those clients moving forward, okay? So it could be worth your while, if you really want to add to it, but yeah, it's kind of hit or miss doing the lead list, just to let you know. Pickleball. I didn't even know what pickleball was like a year or 2 ago. And it seems to be a huge phenomenon among seniors and, non-seniors as well, where it's played like on what seems like a, what is that? Like a badminton court, and you're playing with a plastic ball, but there's like pickleball leagues and drop-in plays almost in every neighborhood now. And kind of like golf, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., it's all seniors out there, okay? So might be something to investigate in your area. And lastly here, the one that's starting to grow and become more and more popular is social media, okay? As we move more to a digital age, which we were really pushed into it because of COVID-19, I see social media as playing a bigger role in your own personal networking and marketing, okay? Again, with social media, we do have some do's and don'ts on that, and we can address those at a later time and talk to your local market manager about that. But that's going to be another interesting area that we're going to watch grow. We don't have a long track record on social media because it's relatively new to the Medicare space, but it's something we're watching, and yes, it's definitely going to grow, okay? And that kind of wraps up what I had here, but I want to leave you with this, a final thought. Because I came from a background kind of like what you do. I came from financial services. I did a lot of annuities and life insurance and 401ks and Roths and regular IRAs. And that's where I came from. And when I started doing Medicare, it was great. It was consistent income, a lot easier sale. That's fine too. But what I didn't count on is the difference we're actually making in people's lives, okay? When I was an agent for 3 years selling, then I got into management for United Healthcare. My first year in managing United Healthcare, where I'm not selling anymore, just managing, San Francisco was my territory. And I remember distinctly where I was in San Francisco, driving down the street, my phone goes off. It was a client that I enrolled 3 years earlier, okay, who I frankly kind of forgot about, okay? But because they didn't contact me, no issues, it just moved forward, and I probably sent him an email during that time. So 3 years later, he contacts me and says he wanted to thank me because when I came into his home, I enrolled he and his wife into a Medicare Advantage plan. And at the time, he was pretty healthy. They were both pretty healthy, and they really were like kind of skeptical about getting any kind of additional coverage. But they liked me. It sounded good, and they ended up moving forward with the plan. Well, during that time, since then, both he and his wife contracted cancer, got a cancer diagnosis, and they had to go through all the therapy. They had to go through all the treatments. They had to do all of that. And fortunately, he said 3 years later, they're fine. They came out of it. They beat cancer. That was great. But they saw the bill. And, combined, it was over $1 million of payouts that United Healthcare did on their behalf. And their total out-of-pocket expense was less than $1,000 for the both of them, okay, during that time frame. And he told me if it wasn't for you, talking this into this plan, my wife and I'd both be dead or homeless, okay? You don't always get to see the fruits of your labors when you're doing Medicare Advantage and Medicare plans in general, okay? This one came back and I heard about it. But trust me, if you're doing this business and you're writing business out there and you have clients and you have like 40, 50, 60 clients in management now, you are making a difference in a lot of their lives. Although you may not hear about it like I did, you're definitely changing people's lives for the better and helping them live healthier lives. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought and pass the baton over.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Thanks for that. And yeah, healthcare, it's personal. And if we can be there to impact their livelihoods in a positive light, we can go to bed at the end of the day, with a smile on our face. So it's a really rewarding area as we've kind of talked about. So we really appreciate you sharing that story, Carlos. One thing to kind of add on the since we're on still the topic of marketing and coming up with ideas on where do we target. One story I'd like to share is I was working with an agent just recently, and she wanted to target a food bank, and she said, only 30% of people who are using the food bank services are seniors, so I don't think it's a good option to go down. And I said, well, let's just pause for a second. We have an opportunity to use our branding as United Healthcare, as well as you as an individual agent. A lot of times, and I really want to emphasize this, it's the adult children or a sibling that is helping the senior population that's eligible for Medicare. So I want you to think of, seniors is obviously an easy target because they are eligible, but many times it's their children or siblings that are under 65 that are helping them out and really making the decisions for them on their health care, or pushing them to talk to somebody about their healthcare options. So I want you to think about that. It doesn't always have to be the senior demographic. It can certainly be the 35, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that are aging into Medicare down the road, but are currently helping one of their loved ones right now. So think of that. I did want to emphasize that. I know we have some other leaders on the call, Brett, Kent, Raheel, Patrick. Any of you want to add in anything on the marketing as well as business planning side of things before we kind of move on?
No, actually, Carlos covers it very well. I'm so impressed with the way he delivers everything. Kind of feel like I want to go back into sales, right? I'm actually motivated listening to all these opportunities and recommendations provided by Carlos. But really good job, good stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll move on here a little bit away from our main session. First off, I want you to take a screenshot or write down our contact information. I know we sent it out a few times, but for those that are in Northern California markets, these are the counties that we have listed. Please write down our information because after this, we want to be able to connect with each of you and discuss a business plan and kind of get you off the ground and running here. So I know, Patrick, you take care of Southern California. I don't know if you want to throw your contact information in the chat, but that would be great, as you can see here. So I'll just leave this up for a moment for you guys to write down our information. And we can also send this out to you, Jeff, and you can distribute it as well.
Sounds great.
All right. So our last topic that we want to hit on here, again, is certification best practices. A lot of you are now in the time of taking your certifications and going through that process. So Brett, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about best practices. You have some good ideas to share. So I'm going to move on to the next screen here. And if we want to go through Jarvis, I know we have a half hour left here before we wrap up. I can certainly open up Jarvis and kind of do a walkthrough again, but feel free to take it away for now.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me touch on these bullet points real quickly, and then we can further identify them while we're on Jarvis.
Cool.
So again, I had the pleasure of speaking with Noel yesterday, one of your team members over at iLeverage. Thank you, Noel, for reaching out to us. He's excited. He's ready to get started on his certification. So I spent some time with him via a Zoom call, a one-to-one, where I went on to Jarvis and kind of walked him through what are some of the best practices. Again, as Patrick Yancey mentioned last week, number one, do not open the AHIP tab, right? We want to keep that section completely collapsed, and we'll kind of show you that on a walkthrough shortly here. Number 2 bullet point, be sure to download and save the PDF in the resources tab, right? So when you have that as a PDF on your desktop and or print it out, it's pretty long, but if you decide to print it out, you can use that as a reference or an open book cheat sheet. Number 3, watch every slide, every module before attempting to take the test. You do have 6 attempts to pass the test, but it's important that you utilize all attempts. So make sure you do all the slides, go through all the modules so you can be well prepared for when you take the test. And again, if you fail, don't get discouraged. We all have gone through these tests, and I believe each and every one of us have failed it at least once. Another tip, if you do fail, is to take a picture or a screen print of each question before you submit it. So when you're in the test taking module, each question will appear with the multiple choice answer. Take a quick snap of it, make an answer or write the answer down so you can kind of match those up together, or click on the dot and then take the picture. You'll kind of understand what I mean. But this way you'll create another additional study guide for yourself, right? The tests aren't that much different from one test to another. I think it's about 3 different tests in the system. But having gone through and taking pictures, or again, creating these flashcards or additional study guides of what the questions are, will allow you to go and study those questions. So when you take the test the next time, you won't miss it, or you'll find yourself getting it right one time and then missing it on the second attempt. This will kind of eliminate that. So again, Noel, thank you for the opportunity. We look forward to the partnership, and I look certainly forward to working with you. And yes, Matt, maybe we should just click onto Jarvis and take a little quick walkthrough on that.
Yeah. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, cool. So as you saw there, I'll just do that practice again. Knowledge Center and Learning Lab is where we're going to be. So you'll get to something like this. When you're new in certifications, it'll pop up in one of these panes right here. But since I completed it already, let's go here. So Brett, I don't know if you want to take it away with what you were talking about, or I can, whatever we want to do.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, as I mentioned, we said don't open the AHIP tab. So if Matt was to scroll down to this section right here, so first thing you want to do, because you don't want to click on it and get started. So then you are left with these 3 separate panels. So the first and foremost are the prerequisites. So 2020 Medicare Basics. If Matt was to get started, he's going to click there. And again, Matt has already completed this, so all of his below modules are in the green. He can't advance forward without having completed this first. So the first thing I was mentioning is in the upper right-hand corner, it says resources. Yeah, we want to click on that. And from here, you can download the course PDF. And this is going to be a complete lineup of the entire modules, the entire Medicare Basics program. So now you have this PDF sheet that you can work from as an open book cheat sheet, right? The tests aren't timed, but keep in mind, once you start a test, it counts as one, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Here's the beauty of this PDF. It has the Control F, or the Control Find or feature. As you can see, Matt hit Control F and he can search for a topic. So if you get lost somewhere, that helps you kind of identify it. You just want to look up something specific, hospitals, yes, Part A, supplement, that sort of thing. So this is a really, really handy tool to have alongside you. Of course, as mentioned, it's 65 pages. You may not want to print it out, but you can toggle in between the test and your PDF, okay? So that's a really good tip right there. So once you've completed the Medicare Basics, as mentioned, go through every one of the modules and every slide. Take some time, let's study it. Then we're going to go into the ethics and compliance. It's pretty much the same. It works the same in terms of being able to pull down the resources. We're going to do that as well. Okay, same thing, it's just a PDF. So now that you have both of these, the Medicare Basics and the Ethics and Compliance PDFs, you pretty much are prepared with these study tools to start taking your test. So you can but I think we still have to do some other the prerequisites, the required prerequisites right below that, right, Matt? We have to do the test and then the other compliances. But overall, it's only 2 tests. As you can see, 85% pass mark at the top. And then for the ethics at the bottom, it's also an 85% pass mark. The one in the middle where it says 100% pass mark on the pledge of compliance, that's basically a click, read, attest kind of item there. Okay. And then lastly, at the bottom, you have our chronic condition or our dual special needs certifications. This is important for those that will be selling in Alameda County as well as Fresno County, and probably some of the Southern California counties that has the DSNP plan. It's not a requirement, but it is a recommendation for 2 reasons. One, if you do run into it, you want to make sure you have that certification already completed, or else it will not allow you to enroll. That's number 1. Number 2, it's a great deal of information, and it's some good value added stuff that could help out. Are there any questions regarding certifications? I'm available this weekend if anyone else want to take that challenge as Noel is going to do. Noel plans on jumping in here over the weekend. He has my cell phone number and I am on call for him. If anybody is willing to jump in and they want to be on call, or want to try to get their certifications done, I will avail myself on Saturday to take calls to kind of help walk you through it. Can't give you the answers because I don't know them, but I can give you recommendations and suggestions. So I'm going to put my number in the chat. So if anyone needs any information, regardless of what county you're in, I could still assist you. We're all a team here at United Healthcare. Feel free to reach out. That's it. That's all I have, Matt. If Kent or anyone else have some ads.
Yeah, I guess the one, and nice job, Brett. One thing I would add to this is once you get into a test, make sure to have that time carved out. Don't get up and do other things because it can time out on you. And if it does do so, or you exit out of the test itself, that does count as an attempt. You do have 6 attempts. Many people don't use all 6, but we don't want to be stuck in a situation where you timed out a few times and now you're down to your last test or 2. So just make sure to carve out time and dedicate time to sitting down and completing them. They're only 20 questions. They shouldn't take that long, especially if you do have the guides pulled up and using Control F. All the answers are in those guides. So, we're not trying to trick you, but we do want to make sure that you're educated and well equipped to answer our members' questions when it comes time.
Yeah, and Betty had a question. She says, with the chronic dual special needs certification, if they choose not to do it at this time, can they go back and complete it later, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do that at any time. It's always nice to complete all the certifications and just get it done with for the year. But if you want to take the time to just get the required ones done, get that writing ID, get up and running, and then as you become more comfortable, you can go back and do the chronic and dual special needs certification later on. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
And real quick, is there a time frame, Matt? Like when someone registers, does it expire before their registration, kind of goes away or something? Is there any kind of expiration date for that, or should they do it in 90 days, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would try to get it done as soon as possible. I think we said, is it 60 or 90 days from when they get that party ID to when they have to complete certifications and receive that writing ID. So once, best practice would be to, once, you get that party ID, get logged in and, do some light reading with the prerequisite courses and then just jump right in and get it out of the way.
Makes sense.
Awesome. Any other questions? Good questions.
There's nothing in the chat.
Okay, cool. So let's wrap things up here. And we just want to give some final thoughts on things. We spent the last 7 weeks going over some materials with you guys. And as I kind of mentioned in the beginning of our conversation today, this is just a start. We're starting to get the wheels spinning. Don't feel like you have to have everything down and memorized at this point. We're your partners in care. We're here to support you and get you off the ground and make sure that you're successful. So we know this is going to be an ongoing partnership. We know we're going to get questions, and really the best advice is, dive in, get comfortable with our different resources that we have on Jarvis and Learning Lab. Start to do some learning on there, and then start marketing. Start talking about Medicare. And when you get that opportunity to have a conversation with a prospect, that's when you can raise your hand, reach out to us, say, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help. Brett, Carlos, Raheel, Kent, Patrick, and myself are all here for you, and we'll make sure that you're successful and have all the tools and resources you need. So I guess that's my final thoughts on things. I'm going to pass it over to Raheel or Brett, and if you guys want to add anything.
Thank you so much, Matt, for passing it over. I think that as you begin your journey here with United Healthcare, there's so much opportunity for success. Looking to the future, the main points I'd like to emphasize when you begin your journey with UHC is to have full confidence in your education and your abilities. The following few points, which I'd like to list in accordance with our UHC values and mission, should help you to succeed truly in your career. Keep in mind, this is a long-term career path, and you're going to be successful in it. So remember that. Operate from that premise. Emphasize that your business plan is a long-term plan, and be specific with your goals. Lay them out, and when you get close to reaching them, set a higher goal. Never settle. The second point I'd like to emphasize is that the agents that succeed in this role are those who never neglect to pursue a further or grander purpose. Find your purpose and work for that, not just a simple number on paper. Number 3, understand your role in saving lives. Understand the needs of your members and serve them with the greatest of integrity, which I already know you all will do and have been doing. Number 4, contemplate and respect your product. Learn the things that you are selling in and out, and then do it again. Product knowledge is key, and it's a cornerstone of meeting our members' needs and you being successful in this role. And finally, work hard first, relax later. This is a long-term career. Have the mindset to build your book and focus on all the relationships and the fun you can have along the way. Some of the biggest lifelong friends you may have may be from this role and working in Medicare, and some of the members that you meet may need you more than you realize. So that's my final thought, and I'll pass it over to Brent.
Thank you, Raheel. Very well said. I have done a lot of talking, so I'm just going to leave it with this. One of the key things that you'll hear when always talking to any of the members here at United Healthcare, whether it's Matt, Raheel, Carlos, or our boss Kent, is you hear the word partnership. So I want to leave you with that as an understanding. We are here as partners. I came from the same financial background as Carlos. I was a salesperson as well. All of us have some of the sales experiences that you will be facing now. So use us as a resource, and don't forget that we are your partners. I wish each and every one of you the best of luck, and I look forward to growing the partnership. And we're going to pass it over to our fearless leader, Kent. He's going to wrap it up. Good luck, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, Brett. And thanks to my team for doing such a fantastic job during the 7 weeks and really bringing everybody up to speed with Medicare and getting iLeverage rolling. We are really excited to see this organization and where you're going to head to. So I want to just leave a couple of thoughts for you there and come back and remind you where we first started, and that is the opportunity. Medicare eligibles are increasing over the next 10 years. We're still increasing per day. We're over 11,000 per day, turning 65 in the country right now. That climbs up in 2024 to 11,700, plateaus for 3 years, and stays still above 11,000 people per day all the way through the decade. This decade is going to be looked at as the golden age of Medicare opportunity. So take advantage of this now. It's the beginning. We're in 2021. Make the commitment to build your Medicare knowledge base, like Raheel said, so you can really be effective in going after the business. Make the commitment and know and understand that. You want at least 5 sales over the next couple of months. That way you learn the application process, you build your confidence, and really you can put yourself in the best position going forward in AEP when it gets busy. Our most successful agents are known for their compassion, serving others and building community relationships. They're motivated, energetic, always moving forward. They have an entrepreneurial spirit to continue building their business by helping people out. My vision for each of you is that you become a successful agent in the Medicare business, in addition to the current life and financial services that you currently are doing now. Secondly, you have a year-round referral engine built by serving others in the Medicare space. And then third, and like Brett said, you become a strong partner with United Healthcare. So thank you so much, and good luck to all of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kent. And we appreciate all your guys' participation over these last 7 weeks. And hopefully you found it valuable. And as we said, I'll go back to this screen. I'll leave this up for the remainder of our conversation today. If you have any questions, please contact us. We're more than happy to help out. So Jeff, I'll send it back to you for any last words or any last questions that you might have.
Hey, Kent, Raheel, Brett, and Matt, thank you so much. I just wanted to ask one question to all of you, because I think it'd be kind of relevant to the group that's listening. Most of the agents on the call have been selling life insurance, many of them for many years. Myself, over 20 years, can't believe I've said that, but 20 years selling life insurance and annuities. To transition into United Healthcare or going into Medicare, would there be any type of suggestions going from life and annuities to going into Medicare? I believe it's a transition. So was there any tips on just that you'd want to give, just, going from a life and annuity guy to go into a Medicare? Is there anything that you guys could give us as like nuggets to kind of get our brain ready for?
Yeah, I'll touch on it real quick. I'm sure Kent can attest to some of these things, but one of the parallels that you'll find is the suitability part. Like, right, with a life insurance policy, you're selling it or you're providing it or you're writing it based on it being suitable. So how that is applied with the Medicare space is that it is suitable in the sense that it is helping members live healthier lives, kind of like the story Carlos shared. So if you're already in that space, again, of taking care and helping out others with something as vital as insurance, because it's exactly what it is, it's insurance.
Yes.
There shouldn't be a problem with the transition. I transitioned the same way, and yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Should be good at it.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I just confirm that, because I'm excited about it. I know a lot of the agents are as well, and I believe it's the same thing. It's just an added additional value that we're helping our clients with, and not to mention, I believe that with the type of relationship you build, like on the story you had earlier with how your clients appreciate it over time, I think you build a lifelong relationship with the United Healthcare clients. It's pretty important.
Right. I can tell you one other thing, it's far more simpler than an IUL or an annuity.
I want to believe that, but in these certifications, man, it makes it think like it's scary,
No, when you're sitting down with a client over an annuity and you're trying to determine crediting methods with S&P versus this or versus that and return and yeah, I get it. Super complicated. This is very, very simple. It's very easy. And the customer is far different. They're more patient, they're more understanding, and in many cases, they're very, very much more appreciative. When you run into people in the financial world, are just really financial people, and they don't see the touchy-feely part of what you're helping them with. So you will definitely appreciate it, and they will appreciate you. You'll get a lot of those calls like Carlos just shared with us.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much, especially all of you, really, for all the time you guys have spent with all of us. And trust me, the time you spend will be well worth it. You will see our company will give you guys will be very proud of what we're about to do. So I want to again thank you for the last 7 weeks. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the time and energy you guys put out. And all we could really do is thank you by showing you that what we've learned, we will have applied knowledge and not just knowledge. So thank you guys again. And we look forward to working with you guys in the future. I know this is really, don't mistake the beginning for the end. This is really just the beginning of our journey.
Absolutely.
So excited about it, you guys. I'm also inviting Kent on our May 15th event. We're having a training here in Northern California, and I have a large section of the event for Kent to hopefully train us more. And hopefully we've already had a couple sales under our belt by then. So we're pretty excited about it. So again, thank you guys, and we'll talk to all you guys soon. Appreciate everything.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you. Take care.
Great job. Great job.